What's up guys, welcome back to another video. Today I'm going to give my predictions for Game Week 11 in the Premier League. Starting off in West London at the G-Tech, Brentford against Bournemouth. I've gone 2-1 Bournemouth. I know Brentford are unbeaten at home so far this season, but that comes to an end here. Bournemouth have just beaten Manchester City, they've beaten Arsenal, they've got a point away at Villa. There's no reason why they can't beat Brentford. They've been playing some really good football, and Brentford at the back have been so open, so easy to get past. Flecken's had to make so many saves. London derby next, Crystal Palace against Fulham. Palace unbeaten in the last 2 games. Fulham got their first win after a 3-game slump, and I think Fulham are going to get the win. I've gone 2-1, mainly just because Palace will be without Wharton, they'll be without Eze, and they'll now also be without Eddie and Ketia. And Fulham have been so good at creating chances, the way Smith Rowe is linked up with the Wobie, if Nelson's playing. I've always been very good. Harry Wilson's coming off a brace. We've got so many options in that attacking midfield area. It'll be a bit too much for Palace, even though the Palace defence obviously has some very good players in there like Chalobah, Gagey and Leclerc, all fantastic. West Ham against Everton and El Sakiko here. You know, Lopetegui is doing a horrible job at West Ham. He's got to go. Everton with Sean Dyche. There were 5 games unbeaten before the last one, but he has been making some horrendous decisions. But I think the Merseysiders will get the 3 points. I've gone 2-1 to the away team again. West Ham will be without Kudus, guaranteed, because he got an exceptional suspension. Alvarez is also suspended. But Jared Bowen might miss the game. Debo might miss the game. That is huge. This is a team that are struggling so much already. Morale's in the gutter, the fans hate the manager, rightly so by the way, he is tragic. And they're going to be without like 4 of their best players. That's incredibly difficult to deal with. And Everton, obviously not quite as gloomy there, even though they're not doing very well themselves. But if Sean Dyche plays Jared Braithwaite, Everton win this game in my opinion. I think it is dependent on Njai being fit because he got injured last time. The way him and McNeil have been linking up, I think Everton should be disappointed if they don't win this game. Obviously that is provided if Todibo and Bowen are both out. If they're not out, then I think 1-1 isn't a bad result for Everton. Wolves against Southampton, 20th against 19th. Southampton got their first win of the season last time. Wolves are still winless. And I think that run ends here. I've gone 3-1 to Wolves. They're not going to get a much better chance to get their first home win of the season. Do you know what I mean? If they don't win here, as much as I do love him, Gary Neville's got to go. It's a relegation 6 point, and if Wolves do not get the 3 points, they might be going down. If Southampton can win here though, that is huge. 2 wins on the bounce. They could, and it's obviously it'll be tough to get out because of the goal difference they've got, but they could be out of the relegation zone by the end of the game. Brighton against Manchester City. Brighton have actually been really good this season. And Man City are currently on a 3-game losing run in all competitions. They've lost their last game in the Premier League. If they lose 4 games in a row, yeah, in all competitions, I'd be very, very worried. But a lot of their injury problems are starting to be resolved. Kevin De Bruyne's back, Jeremy Doku's back, Sabinho's back. They do have some actual attacking players now. Phil Foden doesn't have to play in the 10 anymore because he's shit. This should be a very high scoring game though because both teams are open at the back. I've gone 3-2 Manchester City because they cannot afford to lose this. Brighton have shown though that they can stay with the big boys, they can match them, and they can beat them. Liverpool against Aston Villa. Aston Villa, like Manchester City, have currently lost 3 games in a row in all competitions. They're winless in their last 4. They've only won 1 out of their last 5 Premier League games. And I think they're going to lose here as well. I've gone 2-1 Liverpool because they're at home. But this is just the sort of game where Unai Emery will cook something up and win. You know, I can also see that happening. If Villa are going to get anything, they have to take advantage of Liverpool's slow start to games. They have to be at least 2 goals up at half time. If they're not, Liverpool will be relentless in the second half. We've shown it in so many games this season. Slow starting, second half, unreal. And defensively, Villa have been a bit suspect. So they're going to have to be very, very compact and tight. Aaron Mings did come back in the midweek in the Champions League, but obviously what he did was just stupid. Kamara is now back as well. Huge. Tielemans could be fit for this game, and he's been really good this season. Onana is going to have a storm of a game here. Manchester United against Leicester. Ruud van Nistelrooy's last game in charge as interim manager of Manchester United, at least in this spell. They did beat Leicester 5-2 in the Carabao Cup not too long ago. I think they will edge it here. I've gone 2-1. Leicester, as much as I do like them and I hope that they do win because I have a soft spot for Leicester. It's a game Manchester United do have to win if they want to have a serious chance of Europe this season. We're so deadly on the break. You know, Fatawi, Buonanotte especially been unreal this season. I want to see a bit more from Abedidi. Diallo scored 2 goals in midweek as well in the Europa League. The second one especially was fantastic, and he is going to be very hard to keep quiet if he is fit though, because he did, I think, pick up a little knock. So If he isn't playing, that is a blessing for Leicester because Garnacho is nowhere near as good as him. I think it will be a game where Leicester do defend very deep and try and hit Man United on the break, which is probably where they're most susceptible. Nottingham Forest against Newcastle United. Newcastle won both of the games at the City Ground since Nottingham Forest have been promoted, and they did win on penalties earlier this season, the Carabao Cup. That game ended 1-1, and I think this one does too. Forest at home haven't been quite as good as other way, although they have won their last 2 home games, and the last one especially really dominant. I think Newcastle are quite good at adapting though. Eddie Howe knows how to adapt to different opponents. If there is a winner, I think Forest are more likely to do it just because of how good they've been. But the way Lewis Hall dealt with Saka last week, the way Livramento dealt with Martinelli, they're going to have a tough time, especially Livramento against Hudson-Odoi. But he's definitely shown he's got the capability to deal with it. Elliot Anderson coming back to face his boyhood club that had to sell him because of PSR, which is just so sad. I hate PSR, man. Obviously, Newcastle on the break are devastating, but Forest defensively have been unreal this season. Milenkovic has been signing of the season, in my opinion, so far at least. Ola Aina on a free transfer, by the way, really, really good as well. Moreno's been very good. Murillo, we all know Murillo, and Shell's been the best goalie in the league, so Newcastle will have to take their chances, so I don't think they'll get loads of them. Tottenham Hotspur against Ipswich. I've gone with a 5-1 Tottenham win. They've been unreal at home this season. They've won all their games bar the Arsenal one, and all of their wins have been really dominant at home as well. They've blown teams away at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Ipswich yet to win this season, which for Tottenham is actually a really, really big worry because they came up against Crystal Palace, who were also winless at the time, and they lost, although they were away in that one. Dr. Tottenham cannot strike again. Tottenham do have a bit of a selection dilemma in the left wing spot though because Mikey Moore's out, Charleston is out, Wilson Odobel I believe is out. Timo Werner is unlikely to be fit. Heung-min Son's only just come back from injury and he did start the Europa League game as well. But they don't have any other options, so he kind of has to play. And defensively, Ipswich have been so open this season. They're really missing Jacob Reeves, and I think it's going to be another defeat for them. And finally, the big London derby, Chelsea against Arsenal. This game is so hard to predict because there's so many uncertainties. Is Cole Palmer going to be fit? If he's not, that leaves a big hole in terms of creative ability in that Chelsea team. Obviously, you could play Mudryk in the 10, he's been really good there. But then you'll need to start Enzo, who could get absolutely demolished in transitions. You're playing Kunku there, but he's not as creative as Cole Palmer. And for Arsenal, is Declan Rice going to be fit? Because if Mikel Merino has to start again, that's the big worry. If Merino's not even fit because he got punched in the head in the Champions League, does Zinchenko play there? They've been really, really poor to watch. And that is Mikel Arteta's fault for just persisting with a really dumb midfield choice, not giving Waneri any minutes. Odegaard is now back, but is he fit to play 90? I don't think he is. And Waneri hasn't played enough, I don't think, to warrant Arteta starting him in this sort of game, which is really unfortunate because he's shown so much quality when he's played. So I hope he does start, because I think if he does, Arsenal have a really good chance of winning this. Defensively, I think Arsenal will be mostly fully fit, with the exception of Ricardo Calafiori. And I might be being a bit biased here, but I'm backing the Gunners to win. I've gone 2-1 to Arsenal. I do realise that I've said all this stuff about how people don't know who the midfield's going to be, who's fit or not. And Chelsea, most of their squad is fit, and they've got a huge squad as well, so they should win. But I think Arsenal have to win, because if they don't win here, the title is a far reach. Do you know what I mean? I think they're pretty much out. And if Chelsea were to win, that is a huge statement from them, and they might be looking at the title, because obviously the teams in the Champions League Europa League have at least 8 games in the group stage. Some of them will have to play another 2 to get through to the actual knockout stages. Chelsea don't have to worry about that because they're in the Conference League, way weaker teams. They only have to still play 6 games, and they've got a second string 11. Those are my predictions. Let me know what you think in the comments down below, and I'll see you soon for another video.